Welcome to Kansas Ag Report with your host, Brian Hallman.
Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Brian Hallman, and here's our lineup for today's show. In Ag News, we'll take a look at local and national headlines affecting Kansas farmers. In our Ag Feature, we visit with Chad Bullock from Premier Farm and Home to talk about pasture management. And inside Kansas Ag, Kansas Soybean updates us on recent Senate Farm Bill hearings, and Farm Bureau talks to us about the Be Ag Wise Train the Trainer workshops. And in news you need to know, we get our weekly update from the Kansas Livestock Association. We'll look back at last week's market activity with the guys from Paragon, and we'll let you know about important events coming up around the state of Kansas. Glad you could join us.
Closed captioning brought to you by
The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. kansassoybeans.org.
Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution, Ag Risk Solutions. Kansas Wheat Commission. Leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com. Kansas Livestock Association. Supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org.
Here's our national headlines for this week in Ag News. The Purdue CME Group Ag Economy Barometer fell in February after 3 months of strong gains. The barometer dropped nearly 20 points to 134 after January's record high of 153. The director of Purdue's Center for Commercial Agriculture says uncertainty is surrounded around U.S. trade policy. The survey asked producers to rate the importance of ag exports to the U.S. economy. 93% responded that ag exports were important or very important to the U.S. economy, and 80% said ag exports were important to their individual farms. A commercial chicken breeding operation in south central Tennessee has tested positive for low pathogenic avian influenza. This operation is operated by a different company from one associated to a detection of high pathogen avian influenza. At this time, officials do not believe one infected the other. As a precaution, the infected flock has been depopulated and the premises is under quarantine. Poultry within a 6-mile radius of the site are also under quarantine and are being monitored and tested. U.S. agriculture export value for the first 4 months of the fiscal year, October through January, is $53.8 billion. That puts U.S. exports in a very strong position compared to fiscal year 2016, said Bryce Cook, a trade analyst with U.S. Department of Agriculture. USDA figures indicate almost every U.S. agriculture product is selling better than a year ago, including corn. Export values for soybeans are up 29% since a year ago. Wheat exports are up 18%, and red meat exports are up 19%. In a local news, Governor Sam Brownback signed Executive Order 1701 to assist fire relief efforts throughout the state. Governor Brownback declared a state of emergency on March 5th. The fires have now burned more than 626,000 acres and ranks as the largest fire event in the state history. In Clark County alone, 85% of the county's land mass has been burned. Executive Order 1701 facilitates the immediate delivery of large quantities of hay, feed, fencing materials, and other relief supplies by waiving certain motor carrier regulations. The Kansas Department of Health and Environment encourages farmers and ranchers who have lost livestock in the ongoing wildfires to contact the agency as soon as possible for assistance with disposing of dead livestock. KDHE's Bureau of Waste Management can help farmers and ranchers determine the safest and most effective means of livestock disposal. Contact Ken Powell at 785-296-1121 or ken.powell@ks.gov for details. Governor Pete Ricketts directed the Nebraska State Patrol last week to temporarily waive certain requirements for trucks traveling in and through Nebraska in support of efforts to aid citizens of Kansas impacted by wildfires. The governor's chief of staff said there is likely to be an increased number of trucks carrying hay and livestock, and this temporary waiver will expedite efforts to provide assistance to victims of wildfires. Up next in our Ag Feature, we visit with Chad Bullock from Premier Farm and Home to talk about pasture management. You're watching Kansas Ag Report. Please stay tuned.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
This Medford, New Jersey school bus runs on biodiesel, and so do these. In fact, all of these buses run on clean-burning biodiesel, which is great because the more we use biodiesel in our heavy-duty vehicles, the less carbon pollution in our air. Think how great it would be if more of our school buses ran on biodiesel. More biodiesel, less carbon pollution. More is less. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
You need a partner that you can count on to be there for your business, providing a depth of understanding to risk management issues so you don't have to. A knowledgeable support team located in your area, delivering products and services to make you more successful.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
Thanks for staying with us. We're at Premier Farm and Home. We're joined by Chad. Chad, it's good to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Good. I'm on a downslope, so Chad's really not that much taller than I am. But anyway, so spring, exciting time in Kansas. People start thawing out, pastures start thawing out. We think about burning, but we also think about managing without burning.
Yeah, so a lot of our guys who are out there have to decide what kind of grass are we going to manage. So the decision for them is, do I have a warm season pasture that I'm going to put cows out on later or stockers out on later, or do I have a cool season pasture that we might need to do some management practices to it. So a lot of times early like this, if we have cool season pastures like fescue, we're thinking about fertilizing those pastures, getting that growth ready to be able to turn them out earlier than we would for our native warm season pasture. So determining what you've got, maybe fertility if that makes sense, and then down the road we'll maybe look at weed control, something like that into it.
And that's something I was just getting ready to ask you about, weed management. I mean, this time of the year we've got, we should be, if we've got a lawn, we're thinking about pre-emergent. Should we still be thinking about that pasture?
Yeah, I think, pasture-wise we don't usually use pre-emergence as a practice. A lot of times, when guys are considering burning, that's what they're burning for. They're burning for the weed management, control of brush, those sorts of things. Those can be managed with other tools. So if you're not in a place where you can burn or you don't want to, you can use some herbicides to be able to manage some of that brush that's coming in, or maybe you've got some selective weed that we don't like, or some cool season weeds we want out of there. So herbicides can also be another tool that you can use for spring. Yeah.
Well, we certainly did not have much of a winter.
No.
I mean, we kind of went from fall, a taste of winter, and we've had spring most of the time. So how's that going to differ when we're talking about soil moisture and all that other stuff?
So, I mean, for the most part, most of Kansas is at adequate soil moisture levels for a long-term situation. So we're fortunate that we're sitting pretty good. We're not looking at, big deficit as far as throughout, even in the western half. Got some pretty good rains this fall, so we're sitting on average okay. However, that top can dry off pretty quick, especially when the grass and everything starts to wake up. They'll start to pull moisture from the ground, and that top will get dried off. So we will really be looking forward to some spring rains to get the pastures revived and going. That being said, because we had extra rain, we'll also probably have a little bit more weeds than we normally do. So you have that excessive, annual growth in the fall. So we may get some more weeds than we've had in the past as a result of the rain that we got last year.
Perfect. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about managing your pasture for horses and cows. You're watching Kansas Ag Report, and we'll see you in just a minute.
This segment brought to you by
Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldeseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Thanks for staying with us. We're at Premier Farm and Home here in Topeka, and we're joined by Chad. Chad, in the first segment, we were talking about getting ready for spring. And
yeah.
Okay, now we're kind of ready for spring. We're going to start turning horses out. We're going to run some cattle on that land. How often should we be managing that and looking about rotating those pastures?
Okay, so to answer that question, first we'd have to know kind of the stocking rate. And that's determined by a variety of factors. One is the type of grass, how much rain are we getting, did we fertilize, did we not fertilize? So you want to kind of take those variables into consideration. And if you're stocking, at what I would call an adequate level, where you're planning on doing it for 90 or 120 days, something like that, it's probably what you should plan for. So you want that animal to be able to eat for about that period of time before you move it around. However, another great way to look at it is just visually. So when you go out and put animals on an area, we want to think of it as taking half and leaving half for the grass. So if we take half of that total leaf height out to where it might look like somebody's yard or something like that, then we want to leave that other half so we don't degrade the forage stand that we've got. We're able to let those plants continue to make food so they'll be ready to bounce back to be grazed again at a future point.
Well, and I always heard a rule of thumb is 1 head, 1 acre.
Yeah, that 1 head, 1 acre is really common for our cool season fertilized pastures. We may go, step that down in our native situations. When we get out there, we may do 4 per acre or something like that. And again, it really just depends on the forage quality, what's adequate. You can certainly talk to an extension specialist if you want to get a calculation down as to what your pasture specifically could use. But I think that's a good rule of thumb is somewhere between 1 and 4 per acre. And that depends on if the cows have calves on the side. If they're stockers, they're going to be lighter than cows. So it just depends on what you want to do with that use. Yeah.
And horses, the same thought, or we a little more per head per acre?
Yeah, so horses, a lot of times they'll require more acreage, even up to 6 acres per horse, simply because they process and eat a lot more forage. Where cows have rumens, they eat and then they kind of like chew their cud and process it, and then they go eat some more. Horses just continually eat all the time. They have more of a simple stomach process, so they'll process more forage, so they'll eat more forage.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we want to supplement why we've got young grass, or we not have to worry about that being this early in the spring?
Yeah, so oftentimes if we're talking about cattle, we do worry a little bit about grass tetany, so we might provide a high magnesium mineral prior to going out to grass, sometimes 60 to 120 days. And all that's doing is just making sure we don't run into grass tetany issues. Another supplement, a lot of times protein is very high in that young tender grass, so the forage is at its peak early, and then as it gets older or more mature, we might think about supplementing some protein late in the season for cool season. Warm season grasses we may supplement early.
Okay.
Yeah.
Horses same way, or?
Horses the same way. A lot of times we'll be doing, you'll either have some sort of feed that you'll be feeding them, and just make sure that that's fortified for horses. I think that's probably the best way, because horses, we're gonna have a little bit more intimate contact with them than we would our cows. Cows, we kind of turn out to the pasture and say, all right, we get a little break for check on them, right? Horses, we're usually gonna see daily or have some sort of relationship with them, so feed makes more sense for them usually to provide supplement.
Perfect. HeyCow.com, we want to remind everybody, HeyCow.com is the website. You can get all your information from Premier Farm and Home. We'll see you in just a minute. If you would like to advertise your business on Kansas Ag Report, give us a call, 785-580-3287.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
Premier Farm and Home has what you need to make your lawn the best in the neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Ken. We choose Premier Farm and Home for the professional look that we do ourselves.
Feel free to stop in. You can also visit our website at heycow.com.
At the U.S. Senate Agriculture Committee hearing February 23rd in Manhattan, the Kansas and American Soybean Associations outlined their initial approach to the upcoming Farm Bill. Lucas Heinen, who farms near Everest and serves as president of the Kansas Soybean Association, testified the state of the farm economy is the most compelling reason for a robust risk management framework in the Farm Bill. Citing falling soybean prices and the reduced cost of the 2014 Farm Bill, he noted KSA and ASA will push to fund farm programs at adequate levels to address their needs, even if it means increased funding. Heinen emphasized 4 areas: stronger crop insurance, an improved agricultural risk coverage option, support for current conservation and research programs, and energy policies focused on biodiesel and bio-based products. He also underscored the increased funding for export market development. These programs have been frozen for more than 10 years, while foreign competitors have spent much more on market promotion. In closing, Heinen called for maintaining the leap between farm and food assistance programs, noting the relationship between those who produce food and those who consume it. His full testimony is at www.kansassoybeans.org/policy on the web.
From their earliest experiences, children begin to establish misconceptions about agriculture and food. From television and advertising to preschool books and animation, children generate ideas and stereotypes about farms, ranches, and food production. Sometimes they get the wrong impression of what farms and ranches are, what goes on there, and how important farmers and ranchers are in our lives. In an effort to spread accurate agricultural information, Kansas Farm Bureau is offering Be Ag-Wise Train the Trainer workshops this spring. Registration for the 10th annual Be Ag-Wise workshop, Misconceptions of Agriculture, is now open. Workshops will be held in Wichita on February 25th, Garden City on March 9th, Colby on March 14th, and Bonner Springs on March 25th. All workshops run from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Your $40 registration fee includes the opportunity to receive a training on a variety of agricultural-based hands-on learning labs, a wide variety of valuable resources, lunch, and networking time with other educators. These workshops are designed to assist volunteer agricultural educators, conservation district managers, youth presenters, and teachers. The focus of these workshops will be elementary school students, but lesson plans for all grade levels will be shared. To register, visit www.kfb.org/beagwise, all one word, or contact your local county farm bureau.
This segment brought to you by Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Premier Farm and Home has what you need to make your lawn the best in the neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Ken. We choose Premier Farm and Home for the professional look that we do ourselves.
Feel free to stop in. You can also visit our website at heycow.com.
I will take action against herbicide-resistant weeds. I will know my weeds, and I will stop them before they go to seed. I will do whatever it takes to give my crops the upper hand, and I will use multiple herbicide sites of action because every action counts. I will take action, this time for all time.
You need a partner that you can count on to be there for your business. providing a depth of understanding to risk management issues so you don't have to. A knowledgeable support team located in your area, delivering products and services to make you more successful.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
This Medford, New Jersey school bus runs on biodiesel, and so do these. In fact, all of these buses run on clean-burning biodiesel, which is great because the more we use biodiesel in our heavy-duty vehicles, the less carbon pollution in our air. Think how great it would be if more of our school buses ran on biodiesel. More biodiesel, less carbon pollution. More is less. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
A recent beef checkoff-funded study conducted by Kansas State University agricultural economists Glenn Tonzer and Ted Schroeder examined the viability of developing new food service and grocery store beef demand indices. According to Tonzer, previously available insights regarding beef demand were limited to summarizing the situation in a highly aggregate national manner. He and Schroeder believe a more refined focus is needed. According to Tonzer, indices that are updated more frequently and that can be dissected by product or market region can be especially informative about where demand is changing most. Armed with such information, the beef industry could better adjust, target, and monitor product marketing strategies. For example, beef demand in the Northeast was found to be strongest in June and July and weakest in November. This differs from the South and Midwest regions, where seasonality of beef demand is much less pronounced. This information could be used to refine grilling-based promotion and featuring strategies in the region. The study led to several recommendations, including that the industry begin to retain region-specific beef demand indices. Tonzer said going forward, refined insights specific to geographic regions or product type may be used to better understand current beef demand, which would assist all industry stakeholders.
Good morning. I'm Eric Oosterhouse with Paragon Ag Advisors. It's now the middle of March and we are quickly approaching our planting season for soybeans and corn here in the U.S. Now is the time of the year when traditionally we can hope to see some seasonal risk premium added to our markets. In many cases, all we need is a news headline to give the markets the excuse it needs to push a little. In some cases, the news we hear ends up being more fiction than actual fact, but for a time we can benefit. We saw a great example of this recently. The last day of February saw the grains trade aggressively higher when a report surfaced that was centered around the renewable fuel standard. The report was deemed as friendly, and the market quickly saw funds and speculators jump in. However, the afternoon saw the White House quickly clarify the news, and we saw the markets take out some of those earlier gains. Although we did manage to squeak out a modestly higher close. The point to take from this is how quickly the market reacted to the unexpected news. It was a great example of the buy the rumor, trade the fact proverb. The moral to the story is that we will have surprises, and in some cases quick moves higher that trade just as quickly lower once the facts become clearer. The key is to have a plan in place to take advantage of these events when good prices appear. Be ready, they may not last long. If you have any questions on markets or marketing strategies, call Paragon today at 888-452-8751. Have a productive day.
Closed captioning brought to you by the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. kansasAGreport.org. Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution, Ag Risk Solutions. Kansas Wheat Commission. Leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kansaswheat.com. Kansas Livestock Association. Supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org.
Well, that's our show for today. I hope you'll join us each week for more news and information about agriculture in the state of Kansas. I'm Brian Holman, and thanks for watching.
I will take action against herbicide-resistant weeds. I will know my weeds, and I will stop them before they go to seed. I will do whatever it takes to give my crops the upper hand, and I will use multiple herbicide sites of action because every action counts. I will take action, this time for all time.
You need a partner that you can count on to be there for your business. Providing a depth of understanding to risk management issues so you don't have to. A knowledgeable support team located in your area, delivering products and services to make you more successful.
Premier Farm and Home has what you need to make your lawn the best in the neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Ken. We choose Premier Farm and Home for the professional look that we do ourselves.
Feel free to stop in. You can also visit our website at heycow.com.